It's time for the story of the single most chaotic heist I have ever been a part of in a tabletop role-playing game. And if you think your stories are more zany than mine, good luck. But also, you know, tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear them. It's not a competition, but I would like to make my particular entry into this classification of chaos and nonsense. So we're playing Blades in the Dark, which is all about heists and stealing money and wrecking things and getting in, getting out, having a fun time doing that. And we're doing that in the Iron Kingdoms setting, which is something I don't know much about, but the GM is well versed in it and we're having a really good time. At some point in the story, a few sessions in, we need information from a guy we'd previously stolen from. We pinched some stuff from a boat, and it turns out that this stuff was intended to be traded for some really cool cortexes, I think they're called, which power war mechs, basically. It's like a magical cannibal brandy, I think it was called. Brack brandy. And this stuff is valuable and illegal. So it stood to reason that this particular ship was not on the ledger, which we found out on the dockmaster's list of stuff coming in and going out, which told us that we needed to ask this dockmaster exactly who bribed him to ignore the fact that this illegal stuff and this particular boat we stole from was going in and out. So we spent a little bit of time staking the place out and figuring out how to approach this. And we thought going and asking might not be the worst idea. If we follow him home, we drag him into an alley, push him up against a wall and go, "Hey, tell us the things we need to know." That might work. We moved from the legwork phase, where you do your research, into the heist phase, where you do the shooting and the fighting and the stealing, which happened to coincide with the person, the dockmaster, that we're trying to get information out of, entering a pie shop. At this point, Patches, one of our crew, who was fairly gruff, simple, and very ready to hurt things at most times, suggested that we kidnap this dude, and the pie shop he's just gone into can be part of the score. And if we rob the place, it'll look like petty theft. Well, not petty, but you get the idea. We're going to cover up the kidnapping by stealing a bunch of pies and probably money from the cash register. I have no idea. So we went from the phase where you do the legwork and the research to the phase where you start the stealing and the shooting. You can see where I'm going with this. So for once, my character Brat and his thug friend Hopscotch look at Patches and go, "Oh, that's actually not a terrible idea. Okay." And we go into the pie shop. We buy some pies and we sit down close to where this guy is having his lunch. At which point, Patches, unbeknownst to us, covered in heavy armor, wielding a blunderbuss, kicks down the door. "Everyone, give me your money and get on the floor!" And really from there, it doesn't get any better. He starts shooting. And I think it was probably just to scare people. That's my guess. But he goes boom! The blunderbuss, the stuff goes everywhere. Like a person dies. Someone just straight up dies from blunderbuss to the face. So already, this pie heist has gone downhill. And my Brat and Hopscotch, very surprised by this, just about to kind of sit down next to the guy and go, "Hey, come with us. We're gonna... Don't be surprised by the cunning plan that we have. Just come with us and you won't be harmed," sort of thing. No, none of that. No time for that. Boom! Door goes down, blunderbuss goes off, and pies fly everywhere. We dive behind the the table that is now kicked over. A bunch of dock hands, burly people with tattoos, like ship anchors and big hefty muscles, stand up and like start shouting at Patches with his blunderbuss, which is where we find out that the dockmaster, who tells them to get him, appears to be part of a very influential gang called the Salty Boys, I think. I don't know, the Salt Shakers. I've no clue, but they're all part of the same gang, and that's going to go great for us. Oh no, is he part of... Yeah, he's part of like the local protection ring gang. So they do all of the enforcing round here, which is why all of these thugs are armed, and that doesn't go great for us. Fortunately, both Hopscotch and I, cowering behind a table, don't appear to be in any immediate danger because we're not suspect. We just got shot at. So we're like, get everyone out the back. And I grab on to this dockmaster and go, come on, help us, come with me. So I think in this particular situation, me, Hopscotch, and now another character who's snuck in the back room into the kitchen to see if they can, you know, cut off any exits. Sapphire is in the kitchen and she's just kind of milling around until she hears boom and screaming. So a shootout starts between the thugs and Patches with his blunderbuss, and I am leading the dockmaster with a bunch of civilians out through the kitchen at the back. I meet up with my friend Sapphire, who'd gone round to cut off exits. Did not expect this part of the plan, but that's not really her fault. So after a couple of failed rolls and some poor aiming on Patch's part, he runs out of ammo and he's starting to get surrounded by the enforcers, the local thugs here, and he's probably going to get arrested. That's what it looks like. Instead of using normal ammunition, you know, bits of shot to fire out of this blunderbuss, he ticks off on his sheet demolition tools, and so plugs a giant hammer and sends it flying, and it hits its mark with a full success, and little bits of thug head and gore go everywhere, at which point the pies that Brat is stuffing into his coat pockets are a little less edible than they were before. While I'm stealing pies and trying to get this dockmaster away from whatever the fuck just happened, my friends are emptying out the cash register, and another of our friends, the Slide, the face of the group, the person who is least likely to win a fisticuffs battle, Peaches, decides that he is the one to get Patches out of this trouble that he's in. He's not going to get arrested. Oh no. He's going to get away because, I mean, well, he's running away now. He's run away. He's gone. So let's shank one of these thugs and help out a bro. You know, it's good old-fashioned teamwork. Misses, and instantly gets grabbed by a team of people and the dockmaster, at which point I'm like, just everyone out through the kitchens. We meet up with Sapphire, the one who does all the schmoozing, another face-style character. Anyway, some schmoozing and some stealthing and stuff like that. Meet up with her in the kitchen because she was cutting off the back access, which is her MO, I've heard. And we go out into the street with our friend in tow. We've grabbed him. We're like, yes, we will help you, dockmaster slash enforcer person. In the background, the sounds of a blunderbuss going off and things going different directions. And citizens scatter. Thugs go off to find other thugs and enforcers to arrest him. The guy in heavy armor with a big gun who's pulled out more guns at this point. We're at the back of this pie shop with the guy we need, which is really handy. Distraction over there Patches with the shotgun is going ham on some thugs and shooting people up. We have the guy we need. He has arrested our friend Peaches for trying to stab him. And me, Brat, and Sapphire are trying to convince this dude that we need to go take this guy he's arrested to a safe house while things calm down a little. So after a little bit of coercion, and pretending to be terrified of the person with the shotgun, not too difficult, the guy is convinced to take us to a safe house, and we're like, whew, finally, we'll have him alone, we can interrogate him. And then he says, it'll be great, because I can hand this guy off to the rest of the people we're meeting at the safe house. So we panic and try our best to convince him not to, but he's already made up his mind, because that doesn't seem like the ideal scenario for us. So instead of going there after all that work, we switch tack entirely, and Peaches, the one with all the plans, the leader of the group in most circumstances, decides to take quick action to make sure we are alone with this guy and we can get the information that we want. So he takes out a bundle of trance powder from his pocket, looks the guy in the face and says, terribly sorry about this. And instead of blowing out to put the powder in his face and knock him out or put him in a trance, he breathes in heavily and down goes Peach. So all we see after this guy's like, yes, we'll meet up with my friends who you won't like. All we see is this guy go, terribly sorry, old chap. And that image is now burned into my mind, thanks to my friends. So we now have a passed out ideas man, me getting more and more anxious about the results of these particular roles and the likelihood of us all getting arrested. Brat gets exasperated. Brat is a man of action, so he's like, whatever, it's time to just deal with this, and knocks the guy out by punching him. No tricks, no nothing. Thwack. Bam. He's down. While we were trying to move our friend Peach's body, we realised that he would be very angry at having knocked himself out, or being knocked out at all. So the lurk just pours like a tube of silence potion down his throat. So when he wakes up, we don't have to listen to it. Problem mostly solved. We're going to be able to get away with this guy and ask him questions. The nearest hideaway that we can think of is a few islands over. Unfortunately, we're going to have to carry 2 unconscious bodies through the city. We go a few streets away from the chaos. It's too far to go. So we all hide behind some bins in an alley. The lurk goes on top of a roof to check out for stuff, while Brat, the smart one, is like, yeah, I can do an interrogation, this is gonna go fine. And so I put on a spirit mask that looks like, imagine the texture of cracked mud. Dried up cracked mud. That's the kind of aesthetic this dude goes for. Creepy, right? We all thought so, and it didn't really get me anything bonus, but it did protect my identity. So I put on a Batman voice, put on a mask, and just slap this guy awake in the middle of this not very stealthy but slightly darker than normal alleyway. And I spend a little time threatening him with a knife, a scary mask, and telling him he'll live if he tells me what I need, and that's pretty good. And eventually he gives me a name. And after that, I have a moral dilemma where I don't want this guy to live, but also I don't want to kill anymore. It's been a hell of a day. So maybe I'm, maybe sometimes it's best to just cut your losses. Seems like an ironic way of putting it, because I don't cut him. I specifically do not cut him, despite the intense desire to clean up loose ends. This is a heist game, and we're not great people. We're brutes. We're bravos in game terms. I sigh. I let the guy run away. And I think at that point, the lurk just kind of comes up behind him, kills him where I can't see. I can't quite remember exactly how that went down. But that out of sight, out of mind, that particular part of the story wraps up. I can hear it right now. What was the point of all of that? We did have the name that we needed. It's not essential to the story. I don't actually have a conclusion to this, because mostly this is the chaos I love and enjoy, and the weird stuff that just comes out of dice rolls when you fail a lot. But more importantly, just going with the flow with failure. I think that's probably it. Is that a moral of a story? Yeah, just kind of going with the flow, having a good time, and doing silly things on a heist. By the way, if you want to catch more weird stories and stupid stuff that my friends and I have done, then I've got an entire other series that I unfortunately won't be able to finish off with more videos, but the chaotic adventures of our group can be found at this link here if you want an entire playlist of nonsense and silly stories. Those of you asking where Bloodlost, the Vampire the Masquerade show that I do, has gone, we are currently paused for Christmas holiday sort of stuff, and we're probably going to be coming back in late January, so keep eyes peeled for that. I will upload a video, or just the recordings when they happen, or you can catch us live on twitch.tv/gamingftl. And you know what? Subscribe to this channel, because sometimes I remember stupid things we've done and then I tell you a story, and I love to do that. So like I said at the beginning, please tell me your ridiculous heist adventures. I think most of the stories I've heard of Blades in the Dark, and it's a great system by the way, but most of the stories I've heard from that game tend to be very professional, very like getting in, getting out, doing the heist, being the James Bond characters, or the Ocean's 11. No, that's not how my group operates. We are BS 100% of the time, and I love them for it. They're wonderful role players and wonderful friends. So every now and again, you'll get that. I think I've rambled on enough, so until next time, goodbye.